It's going to be Nathaniel Wood versus Muhammad Naimov. The Nathaniel Wood, the prospect, he's 19-5, 4-1 in his last five. He's coming off of that unanimous decision over Andre Fili, which I thought was a really close fight, even though it was a UD. It's a very close fight that they had. He's 30 years old, so right in the prime of his career, 5'6", 69-inch reach. He's going up against Muhammad Naimov, 9-2, 4-1 in his last five. He's coming off of that really big win as a big underdog over Jamie Mullarkey. I remember that Jamie Mullarkey was like a huge favorite, and I think Jamie was doing well in that fight, but straight up just got caught by this guy and his power. 29 years old, so he's also kind of in the prime of his career physically. 5'9", 70-inch reach, so he's going to be the taller fighter here, slight reach advantage. Odds right now, I think Nathaniel Wood is a minus 330, opened up at a minus 400. So a little bit of dog action on the power of Naimov there. I think that this is going to be a really interesting fight because I believe that Naimov, he was fighting um, short notice against Jamie Mullarkey up a weight, right? So he usually fights on featherweight, but I think he was fighting at 155. And even though Jamie was doing really well in that fight, and that fight was probably going his way, still came out with a big dub, still came out with an underdog win. So he's kind of in a similar situation right here. Um, I think that this is going to be a much tougher fight, though, for Naimov, just because Nathaniel Wood is a good, solid striker, decent power. I think he has great dirty boxing. He can grapple. He also has some good upper body takedowns where he does his trips. I mean, you especially saw that against when he fought Charles Jourdain, right? He did a lot of trips against Charles that fight and really kind of threw him off. Good volume as well. I feel like he can do it all. If you look at his UFC record, he even has submissions under his belt in the UFC. So really good all around fighter. He's one of these fighters that I always say they always do really well in decision fights because of their style, their high volume, and their takedowns. They know how to mix it in. So it creates kind of really good optics for them, right? Like you see this guy who's kind of constantly pumping out volume, even if it's in kind of the pocket. He's a really quick kind of striker, and then he mixes in those takedowns and trips you. So just the optics of kind of looking at that, right? It seems like the people who are doing that, they're probably controlling and winning the majority of the fight. The one thing that I think he does lack is that he doesn't have like a straight KO power, right? It's more of like kind of a build up of volume for him to kind of hurt and damage you. But I think that that fast kind of quick striking can really hurt you and damage you over the course of 15 minutes with that volume, that pace, and that cardio. And I think that that's going to be a kind of mismatch against Naimov, who I feel like he seems more of like a plotter who will kind of come forward and strike. He does mix in the grappling with the takedowns, but he can also kind of get taken down himself. I think that Malarkey had a few takedowns in that fight, and he was losing that fight. So Naimov does have underrated power, though. I mean, he knocked out Jamie Malarkey at a division up from this division that he's going to fight. So this guy has power. Um, it'll be really interesting because Naimov will be fighting with a full camp as opposed to short notice. I think Malarkey was actually a much better matchup for Naimov, so I think Wood just seems more measured and has a higher IQ, a fight IQ, as opposed to Jamie Malarkey, who's jack of all trades, but he really loves to get into brawls, right? Which is not a good recipe. It might kind of be laying juice there. So I wouldn't. I would say Wood by decision. Um, I'll wait to see what face-offs look like to decide if I want to put Nathaniel Wood into a parlay because I really feel strongly about Nathaniel Wood. I feel like he's the better fighter in all areas in this, except maybe for the power. So we'll see what happens, see how he kind of reacts to seeing Naimov in person. But yeah, the play for me is Nathaniel Wood by decision. And right now, just to let you guys know about that, is plus 105. I think that's pretty decent. That's not that bad. I think that this fight's probably going to go the over actually. So over 2.5 at minus 160 is not bad as well. So yeah, pick here is Nathaniel Wood by points. I'll see how he looks at the weigh-ins to kind of parlay him at minus 330. But for now, we'll go by Wood by decision at plus 105. Alex, what do you think about Nathaniel Wood and Naimov here?
Yeah, I really like Nathaniel Wood in this fight also. I think he's a better fighter, cleaner strikes, combinations. So I think look, breaking down this fight, I think he's going to dominate Naimov here, to be honest. I'm definitely going to have him in my parlays. Um, just, watching Wood's last fight against Feely, Wood was at a 4-inch reach disadvantage, but he was still able to tag Feely and knock him down. So this time with the fight being a 1-inch disadvantage, he's definitely gonna have no issue um, getting to Naimov. Like the one worry that I do have is, in the Feely fight, Nathaniel Wood did get knocked down twice as
Mm-hmm.
well. So with Naimov's power, I mean, like he can get knocked out. Like this, it's definitely not a surefire win. Um, but like looking at Naimov's fight against Malarkey, I think his power, it's more of like counterpunch power.
Mm-hmm.
His knockout against Malarkey, it was Malarkey that kind of came in, and Naimov kind of caught him with that. So, um, to add to that point, like Malarkey had a close fight against Makdessi, and I thought Malarkey was gonna like smoke Desi, but so, I'm not like that impressed with Malarkey now. So like I don't know, like it I don't rate Naimov as highly. Um so I think I really like Nathaniel Wood in this spot, but I wouldn't mind someone putting like a round two or round three KO prop for Naimov
Ooh,
just
yeah,
because Nathaniel Wood can get caught. And we've seen him get caught. But at least for me, I really like Nathaniel Wood in parlays. I think he's going to get it done. He's just like the better fighter, to be honest.
yeah, definitely, definitely. How do you think Wood gets it done? What kind of method would you go for?
See, this is the thing. I would rather play Nathaniel Wood in parlays because like I can see the sub, I can see the
Mm-hmm.
KO, or I
Mm-hmm.
can see the decision. Like I can see a lot of like ways that Nathaniel Wood wins. Um, So I think for me, I would probably stick with the money line, even though that's like really juiced or it's like pretty wide. That's why I would play them in parlays, to get those odds like down.
That makes sense. Cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like we're both on the Wood train there. Hopefully he looks great at weigh-ins, and we could kind of commit there, at least for me. But yeah, I feel like Wood's going to be in a lot of people parlays just because of breakdown of styles and all that, right? I mean, you can kind of see on the tape as well. I feel like this is going to be a much worse matchup for Naimov than Wood. So yeah, we'll see what happens in that fight.